Welcome back, Truth Seeker. A lot of people have made a request. Again, people are always into the most important subjects, but a lot of people want me to break down this recent beef that's all in the mainstream media between two of the most famous rappers in the industry right now, Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And again, this started just the other day on April 30th, the Church of Satan's birthday. And now today, the latest, May 3rd, on 5/3. If Tupac Shakur were alive today, he would turn 53 years old this year on June 16th, on 6/16. Of course, his death, well remembered, in 96 on September 13th. But again, Tupac's birthday is June 16th, right? And he turned 53 this year. And now this diss track on 5/3. And there's a lot to say about this, so we're going to go through it piece by piece. If you're new here, I talk about something that a lot of people have never heard of before, even though it's really old, it's biblical. It's called gematria or gematria. It's the practice of coding numbers into words. And there's a song in English by the metal band Slipknot, Gematria, the killing name. There's another song by The Police from 1983 about how killing is a sport and how it's done by a code. We're going to bring this up in regards to Tupac's death and Biggie and Big L and on and on and on. But I want you to see how many parallels there are to Tupac and what they've done with today's story. Again, we talked about the 6/16 birthday for Tupac, how he'd be 53, how today's 5/3. If you're new here, we just talked about it the other day, the death of the producer who worked on the Outkast album and how perfectly synced his death was with Andre 3000, who just put out the 87-minute flute album not long ago, while the Pope's 87 and Once Upon a Time on the AT-Aliens album, on the hit song Wheels of Steel, Andre 3000 had the words, "The Pope and his folks have us under a scope." If you have not seen my work in the past on why Tupac's album after his death, Machiavelli, was put out on the very special day to the Jesuits, Guy Fawkes Day, November 5th, with him on the cross like Jesus. Again, there's a lot to get caught up on, but what you need to know is the calendar we're on comes from the Jesuits. The language we're speaking, English, comes from the Jesuits. They do run this nation, its entertainment industries. And right now we're in the time of the first ever Jesuit Pope. That's Pope Francis. And we're going to talk about just how synced this is with Pope Francis and why it matters that it comes 139 days from Pope Francis's birthday, when diss track equals 139, but so does Tupac Shakur, who died on 13/9, which is Caesar Borgia's birthday, where white Jesus comes from, the former son of a pope. Again, you guys, the most interesting rap story I know out of all these famous rappers is Andre 3000. Again, you listen to his first album with Big Boy, Southern Playalistic, Cadillac Music, whatever that long title is. Andre 3000 is just a stereotypical rapper. I mean, I can't really say anything special about Andre on that first album. But then the next album, AT-Aliens, again, it's like he hung out with philosophers for a long time and was just like this whole new person. And yeah, he said a lot of interesting things in his old records. And we've been talking about that for a while now. And again, where his flute album fit in. And so anyway, just think about that and think about how after Tupac died, again, they do the Jesuit Jesus ritual. And then the hit song is Hail Mary, which can't get any more Catholic. Again, the calendar we're on is named after the Pope. 52 weeks in the year, and in Gematria, Pope equals 52. Anyhow, we're going to talk about Gematria and how this is perfectly synced with the Pope's 87th birthday, and why Kendrick Lamar, born in 1987, is so perfect for the ritual. And then we're also just going to go down memory lane from the last few months while the Pope's been 87 and just talk about some of the other highlights. And understand, this is just a quick list. There's been a lot more. But look, In gematria, Kendrick Lamar equals 87. And again, the founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola, his name equals 87. And so does the Catholic Church. So it's not arbitrary that we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope who's 87 years old. Again, June 17th, 1987 is Kendrick Lamar's birthday. He'll turn 37 later this year. From the Pope's birthday, December 17th, to today's news is 139 days. And again, diss track equates to 139 in gematria. So does Tupac Shakur, who died on 13/9. Okay? Today's 5/3 would turn 53 later this year. By the way, the real Machiavelli, his birthday is May 3rd. And remember, Tupac's mother was announced dead on the real Machiavelli's birthday. So this 5/3 thing also fits in with Machiavelli, Tupac's alias at the end of his rap career, Machiavelli, a play on Machiavelli who faked his death. But just this 5/3 thing. May 3rd. Again, it was this day years ago that Tupac's mother's death was announced. So we're on the real Machiavelli's birthday, right? Kendrick Lamar diss track, obvious tribute to Tupac. That's because the same people control these rappers and the themes. And no doubt they are kind of given the script, the outline for what they're meant to follow. If they're not just reciting a whole song that was written by somebody else in the first place, which is also possible. But yeah, 139, it goes back to Tupac. It goes back to Big L, who was killed on 139th Street. Down below, I'll talk a little bit more about why the number 139 is special. It's a very interesting number. And actually, rather than just keep you in suspense, just like Freemasonry equals 139, so does America, so does the Bavarian Illuminati. And that was founded 64 days before America. And then George Washington, the first recognized president, penned the letters about his concerns about the Illuminati infiltrating Freemasonry. And again, if you don't know about these things, look them up because they're in the National Archive. They're not conspiracy theory. They're straight up facts. But yeah, 139 is not arbitrary. It's also the 34th prime number. I said Freemasonry equals 139. The word free equals 34. 139, the 34th prime. The word rapper is also 34. So is murder. So is suicide. There's a lot of suspicious suicides with the 34 stamp on it. The list goes on, but there's a reason that this pattern shows up a lot with rappers is the point. The word black is also 34. Like how the Bob Marley movie, they had to off Aston Barrett right before the movie came out on the 34th day of the year. If you missed that video, you can go back and check it out. R.I.P. to him. But May 3rd to June 16th, from the day of this diss track dropping to June 16th, like 6/16, like Tupac's birthday, the day he turned 53. It's 44 days later. And if you're new here, we talk about this number all the time with death. R.I.P. to Malcolm X, killed on a 44 date numerology. R.I.P. to MLK, killed on 4/4. R.I.P. to JFK, the 44th term U.S. president. R.I.P. to William Henry Harrison, the first president to die in office on 4/4. R.I.P. to Lincoln, who in the National Historic Record dreamt on April 4th, 10 days before he shot, that he would be assassinated. Anyway, just 44 is fateful. Remember the killing of Caesar in 44 BC. They did Bob Lee on April 4th in the Ides of March tribute last year. The guy who created Square, the four-sided object, and CashApp. Anyway, if you don't know about that, that stuff's real important. Had a lot to do with our federal government. Jesuits run that thing too. But shooting has that gematria 44, like execution, like kill is also 44, and the occult 4 is associated with death. Drake, who this diss is aimed at. Today's his 193rd day of his age. His birthday is October 24th, 193rd day of his age. That's the 44th prime number. 44th prime number. Tupac Amaru Shakur. His full name is 193. He mostly went by Tupac Shakur, which is 139. And he died on 13/9. So we're told. Unless he's like Machiavelli who faked it. Tupac, he rapped a lot about when he's gone, how you'll be reminiscing. But yeah, notice, Kendrick Lamar, he's doing disses. That's like battle raps. They got that term battle rapper. We'll see what it leads to. But battle rappers got that gematria 53. Diss tapes is not exactly the same thing, but I'm just seeing if it's going to go here. We know 53, though, is big with Los Angeles. And what's the name of this song again? 616 in LA or something? 616 in LA. You remember when Kobe died and we were showing how King Von put out that album afterwards and we're saying, man, King Von's going to be dead soon too. It's all part of LeBron's rigged championship this year. And then boom, next thing you knew, King Von was dead by the exact numbers we talked about in March, 8 months before his passing. Right at the time they were locking the world down and shutting the NBA down momentarily for their pandemic by the numbers. But anyway, Los Angeles has that 53, like today's 5-3. Remember, Super Bowl 53 was between Los Angeles and the Patriots. Remember how we nailed the World Series dead on and the Super Bowl? How we had it all called in July, why the Red Sox had beat the Dodgers in Game 5, 99 days before the end of the 99th NFL season was Super Bowl 53, when Boston Red Sox is 53, like Los Angeles, like Patriots, and everything else. But all of that unfolded perfectly as we imagined. 53 is the 16th prime number. You had 16 points in that Super Bowl on top. And just with regards to 16, notice, again, if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Think about the time 616. In that number sequence, you can draw out a 6-1 and you can draw out a 1-6, 61 and 16, like in the Gematria Tupac. 61 also in the Jesus, like cross. And notice USA Today, the image they used for their little story on this today, you got Kendrick Lamar in the crown of thorns like Jesus. Like they've had Tupac wear, Nas wear, a number of rappers wear. Just a really old theme. And again, there's a bigger connection with rappers and Jesus and Gematria. Notice, again, the overlap with Tupac and Jesus, forwards and backwards, the 61, the 74. Notice, just using the simple cipher, Machiavelli, his alias is 74, like rapper, like Jesus, like cross, like parables, like Messiah, like gospel. Again, the Ides of March, remember the killing of Caesar on the 74th day of the year. I didn't put up here, but the word killing is 74. World Trade Center's on the 74th meridian. Fateful number. 3 of the first 5 U.S. presidents dead on 7-4. Anyhow, Tupac, the classic example of the Jesus ritual. Remember, there's only one physical description of Jesus in the Bible, and it's Revelation 1:14 through 16, and it describes a man with hair like wool and darker skin, so I'm just saying. But yeah, Tupac, who died in the Jesus ritual, also died on Caesar Borgia's birthday, where white Jesus comes from, former son of a pope. The Pope and his folks have us under a scope. They do, man. They treat us like we're like a lab experiment, like they've been studying. That movie they put out the other year with Jamie Foxx, they make it seem like he got cloned. They cloned Tyrone, and then the secret lab is under the church IHS, like the Jesuit motto's IHS, Jesus Hominum Salvator. Anyhow, there are other things that are noteworthy here. June 16th this year is going to be a date with 46 numerology. As we know, sacrifice equates to 46. Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. A lot of this is biblical. There's a big 46 in Hail Mary, the hit song for Tupac after his death on the Machiavelli album. Notice how from Kendrick Lamar's birthday to today, May 3rd, is exactly 46 weeks, right? The takeaway from this song is that he mentions in the lyrics that even his own team of people around him think he has it coming, like he deserves to be killed, the way he's been mouthing off and talking real big. And again, for people who don't follow all this hip-hop nonsense, I hardly do either, but I know a little bit. And I just know from some of Drake's hit songs, he's just he's always talking like he's the biggest gangster. And there have been a lot of suspicious deaths around Drake's music, as we've covered over the years. Forget some things. I remember a guy like getting killed and captured on camera, but they couldn't figure anything out. And Drake associated, I want to say he was 33 years old when he was killed. He did like a song with 21 Savage about a knife, and then somebody got stabbed to death a whole bunch of times. I could go back and see that there was all kinds of ritualism to it. But anyhow, 46 is a fateful pattern. And this just happens to be 46 weeks into Kendrick Lamar's age as he talks about how people around Drake want him dead. Is it all just to sell records? It likely is, because if they really had problems with each other, you think they just talk it out rather than, make it the front page news of the USA Today. But yeah, these patterns also. Today's date can be written 5-3 or 3-5. We see these numbers show up in big hip hop rituals, 35, 46, the way they got this timing. A lot of people are really excited about this. People are saying hip hop is reborn through this battle of these rappers. What people need to see is the sick ritualism of this and how deaths are constantly connected to this, and these rappers are always threatening one another and putting out this studio gangster vibe when they're really not about it. But then the deaths end up coming in the headlines anyway, and more records are sold, and no one's really getting to the bottom of what's going on, and everything's an unsolved mystery. I'm sure people there were noticing that it was 322 days as well. Of course, like Order 322 at Skull and Bones, which is again is part of this Roman Catholic fraternity. Skull and Bones is related to the Templars. The Templar cross is in the Jesuit logo. All roads lead to Rome. So yeah, right away when this was out, it had tons of views, tons of videos with lots of views. Let me see. I'm gonna skip down to some other important points here. Oh yeah. With regards to this being synced with the Pope, remember the Church of Satan. Their birthday is April 30th. The first diss track Euphoria came out on the Church of Satan's 58th birthday. It was established April 30th, 1966. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Pope Francis equates to 58. There's a lot more to say about that. Again, if you're new here, I teach about the Jesuits, the history of 201, how it goes way back into the Jesuit order, Pope Francis, this nation's history, and also the Church of Satan, where Anton LaVey died 201 days from the Pope, but also 201 days from his own birthday. Again, the Jesuit order's 201, huge number. That's a big piece of their history that does show up in a lot of these rituals. It's not the real focus in this stream, but there is a link with the Church of Satan and the Jesuits in history. So, again, in light of this all being tied in with the Pope and the diss track coming out on the Church of Satan's 58th birthday. And again, I'll put it this way. Like, if you made the world black and white and like something's either good or it's not good. And if it's good, it's of good. And if it's not good, then it's actually of evil. And there are different degrees of evil, like murdering somebody is obviously a lot more evil than putting out a song talking shit about somebody. These are different degrees of, but they're both in the evil side. Most of this stuff in hip hop and just in culture in general is not good. And it might not be real bad either. But if, again, we're making things black and white, a lot of this stuff is on the evil, negative, low vibration, might put you on a bad path side. Just the stuff that they feed us through mainstream culture. So anyway, Euphoria is the name of the song he put out on the Church of Satan's birthday. And Euphoria has that oh so present 42. And April 30th, 2024 was a date with a life lesson number of 42. Jesuit, of course, has that gematria of 42, like Georgetown, like slavery, like Tuskegee, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And again, Jesus, with that physical description of a black man, it begins the New Testament with the 42 generations to Jesus, and New Testament's 42 like math. But 42 is just a super huge number. Names like Martin and Malcolm X both equal 42. Even the name Muhammad Ali, and none of those men were born with that name in terms of the civil rights leaders. But just 42, like Martin lives in apartment 42 in the sitcom set in Detroit on the 42nd parallel, the city connected to black music. I noticed in the latest song that he put out, 616, he's talking about confessions. Remember, they had Usher singing Confessions this year at the Super Bowl, which was the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday. And right at the beginning, he's mentioned the word phantom. There's something interesting about the Kentucky Derby and the phantom horse. But just, Phantom's got this 87, like how Kendrick Lamar's Mr. 87, and it's synced with the Pope, who's 87 right now. And just to make a point about things that have been going down while the Pope's 87, Jacob Rothschild died at age 87, and the name of his bank is NM Rothschilds and Sons, 87, just like Jacob Rothschild. Not an accident. Just recently, you had Eleanor Coppola, the wife of Francis Ford Coppola, who did the Godfather films, died 87, and she died 117 days after the Pope's birthday, like the Godfather's 117. Similar to The Sopranos, which have the 99 connection and came out on Jesuit run HBO in 99. And Tony Soprano died 99 days after Pope Francis became the first Jesuit Pope while vacationing in Italy. And then you just had Rico Renard Wade connected to Outkast, his full name 87, his music group Organized Noise 87, die in connection to the Pope, and Andre 3000, who just put out the 87-minute Flute album that was said to be a mind bender. And this man who died with the 87 connections just died at age 52. Not all that old, the big Pope number. And the list goes on. There's just been so much of this. Eric Montross, the basketball star, died on the Pope's birthday at age 52, the day he turned 87. Chapel Hill, UNC, Tar Heels. Hold on, I got to take a call from Sweet Lady real quick. Okay, I actually have to wrap this up because Sweet Lady's got a request, and it's going to take me a minute to go do it. But yeah, again, here's one other thing, just about kind of in his lyrics, he's hinting that the people around him, the team around him, maybe his security, they're going to be in on what's about to happen to him. I was just getting clever. I had to go branch out into the bigger ciphers. This could be a big swing and a miss. But if there does end up being a story like this, I was just thinking 6:16 a.m. in LA, that's the 376th minute of the day, right? And there's something called satanic gematria, which is a interesting cipher. I wrote about it in my first book. I don't talk about it a whole lot. There are things that are definitely relevant to this cipher. Just security and Satanism both have this 376. So I was like, 6:16 is the 376th minute of the day. Somehow his team around and could do him in. You know, the first song, Euphoria, put out on the Church of Satan's birthday. But yeah, again, here we are on the real Machiavelli's birthday. And, my old website, unless Google's taken that post down, it's weird I'm always surprised when I find out posts they have taken down versus ones they haven't. But Tupac mother, May 3rd. Let's just go back in time. That's right. Tupac's mom did die May 2nd, but it did not break in the news until May 3rd. And this is another member of the Outlaws. The death of Afeni Shakur and Tupac Shakur in light of the real Machiavelli. This is a post. I don't think this is the initial post I did, though. It was 44 days from Machiavelli's birthday to Tupac's birthday. Of course, we're talking about that today with this 6/16 song. And don't forget, I ain't mad at you, Tupac in heaven. I mean, come on, man. He did the Scarface song, Smile. There's going to be some things that are going to make it hard to smile. He's on the cross in that one, too. Hold on. Well, maybe, I'm surprised the mother one didn't come up before some of these other posts. There's a lot of old posts here. From Tupac, that's right, from Tupac's death to the day they put out that album was 53 days, too. Again, he'd be 53 years old this year. Today's 5/3. It's the real Machiavelli's birthday. They made Tupac a big focal point right before the Super Bowl in Vegas. I got to wrap this up, though. I'm just surprised I didn't find the post yet that I want. Here we go. Here it is right here, the headline. This is when it broke, May 3rd. They posted 11/11. Afeni Shakur Davis, Tupac's mother, dies at 60. Name had that 87 in the gematria, too. Wild. And now here we are while the Pope's 87. The Pope's and his folks got us under a scope. She decided to enroll Tupac in the 127th Street Ensemble. I missed that back then, but I just said how the Bavarian Illuminati is 139. Take the off it, it's 127. And that's the 31st prime, 31's the 11th prime. These numbers go together is the point. Numbers we come back to. They got to mention the 4 million in a story about death, for the number of death. Yeah, so she did die May 2nd, but the news broke on the real Machiavelli's birthday. Oh, look at this. Look at this. We're the Pope. We've been on the same things the whole time. So from the big Pope Day, the day he departed Philadelphia, September 27th, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by Rome, to I have to go back and read the whole post. Anyway, I got to get off, you guys. You can go back and look at my old work, but there, the part about Tupac Shakur and 139, and and then Biggie's death, perfectly synced with his. Tupac dies on Biggie's album anniversary, Ready to Die, and then Biggie dies by the numbers, synced with a whole bunch of people, including the biggest beneficiaries, Jay-Z and Diddy. But yeah, if you've been missing what we've been saying about Jay-Z and him having the same Jesuit prosecutor that R. Kelly did when he was 54, and why it matters that they both the prosecutor went to Georgetown, established by John Carroll when he was 54. Again, you got to get into all that. Jesuit Order 54, John Carroll's son. There's a reason it always comes back to the same numbers with these people. So, and by the way, $ Amy CTC, Charlie Tom Charlie. Again, if you guys have been thinking about helping out Amy, there is still time to help. Thank you to everyone who did. And yeah, it was Drakeo the ruler that got killed in the Knife Talk stabbing. That's right. 38 days after Knife Talk, when rapper, death, murder, killing, RIP are all 38. That was one of those deaths connected to Drake years back. Thank you for that. I appreciate the tip and your memory. All right, I do got to run, you guys. Got to tend to that sweet lady. And again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. If you guys want to join us tonight, we'll be talking Kentucky Derby a little bit later tonight. If you want to join us, be just talking about it tomorrow too. See if we can do another big W at the Kentucky Derby. It's been a minute, but we haven't hit it since Medina Spirit, but we'll try to bring it back this year. All right, until next time, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, that's the Cash App if you want to help Amy. Thank you. Until next time, Truth Seeker.